Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Coach Jay, and in this video today, what we're going to be focusing in is going to be reps in reserve, the RIR scale. And what I want to do is I want to explain how and what the RIR scale is, reps in reserve scale, and how you can implement that into your training. So before we start off, RIR is a measure of intensity. So it is written as RIR, which stands for reps in reserve. And this is the amount of reps that you want to leave in the tank. So this is the amount of reps that if you're doing an exercise, you want to experience that you could possibly do this amount of reps more. So let's take for argument's sake, we have the bench press. If you do the bench press and there's written a certain weight, like say 60 kilograms, and there's written a RIR2 next to it, which means you need to keep pushing the bench press or pushing the bar until you feel that there are only 2 more repetitions left that you can do, but you don't do them and you re-rack the bar. It is a very subjective measurement or intensity tool, slightly different from intensities as percentages, but it's a really good scale of intensity to measure if you have a really high impact job or you don't know where your 1RM is without testing your 1RM. So a couple of ways that we can actually utilize this. First measure is where, let's say, a given weight is given to you. So let's say you have, again, the bench press and somebody prescribes a weight for you. So your coach prescribes a weight for you, you have 100 kilograms on the bar, and you got to keep pushing that bar and keep doing repetitions until you have an RIR1. So what does that mean? It means you use a weight of 100 kilograms, you're going to do as many reps as you can until you feel you have only 1 more rep left in the tank, only 1 more rep in reserve, and then you stop and then you re-rack. Now the thing with reps in reserve is as your sets get along, your repetitions are not linear. So let's say you're using that same 100 kilogram for 4 or 5 sets. The reps might go down depending on the amount of rest that you have in between the sets. So you might do in the first set 10 reps and then 8, 7, 7, 6, 5. So it does not need to be linear. It's an intensity tool, and then rest, which is another variable, comes in very, very important. Now the other way where we can use it is a certain rep range is given to us. So let's say we're doing bench press again, and I want 8 repetitions from my athlete, and I put it as an intensity of reps in reserve 2. That means the weight is going to be the variable, which means you're going to do 8 repetitions, and if you feel on 8 repetitions that the weight that you're using is too light and you could do 5 more repetitions, you need to up that weight. Now it's a little bit harder to gauge your intensity by a weight just because most people don't really know yet where their 1 repetition max is or their 5 repetition max. So it might take a little bit longer to establish that intensity. But again, just like before, the weight might be the variable. So let's take another example. So we have 8 repetitions that we need to do, intensity of reps in reserve 2, so RIR2. Let's say your first set, you hit it spot on and you use 100 kilograms, you hit 8 repetitions, reps in reserve 2. That means the next set might be that you do less reps, which is not what we ideally want, but you might need to alter the weight, which means you might need to go down to 95 kilograms to still respect that reps in reserve 2. A good way to go around this difficulty of maybe not hitting the reps as prescribed is when you program a range. So let's say you program 8 to 10 repetitions at an intensity of reps in reserve 2. In this way, it gives a little bit more lenient to the athlete. So they put a weight on it, they hit the first one, 10 reps. They don't know if they're going to hit that second set 10 reps again, but they have the option of actually going to 8 reps and still keeping or respecting that reps in reserve 2. So it's a way that you can actually gauge the intensity slightly better. Now, reps in reserve, like I mentioned, is very difficult measuring tool of intensity. And most studies have found that athletes do not know how to gauge their intensity, that they think they are going into reps in reserve 1 or maybe reps in reserve 2, but they're actually in fact only at reps in reserve 6 or reps in reserve 4, where their intensity is not high enough. So in this next clip, I want to show you a little video of me doing a reps in reserve 2 on the incline dumbbell bench press. The last couple of reps is really much slower in speed. I might be shaking a little bit, I might be losing form quite a bit, but the intensity is very high. I try to get to a point where I'm like, okay, things are getting hard now. And it's not just the burning sensation in the muscle, it's the physicality of not being able almost to lift the weight, that the speed slows down so much. So if I'm going for reps in reserve 1, I'm questioning whether I can make that last repetition or not. Same goes for rep number 2. You know, for solid, I can make 1 rep, but you're questioning that second rep, which is a possibility, but you're not 100% sure, so that we can gauge that higher intensity. This becomes very, very important when we're going to work on strength and whether strength is our main driver. We know from hypertrophy that we do not need to go to failure, but we need to go relatively close to failure in order to get a good stimulation of the muscle. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so that if I do future videos, you'll be notified. Leave a comment at the bottom, good, bad, it doesn't matter. I'll try to respond as soon as I can, and share this video with your friends. And I hope this really helped you in your programming and understanding your programming maybe a little bit better. All right, have fun.